Did you hear a scream, Rick?
Whoa, scary.
Yeah, because it's Halloween. It's our big launch today. Now, we've mentioned normally the show is going to go up on Mondays, but what better time to go ahead and start the twist than Halloween? I had just had a birthday. It's my favorite time of year, my favorite holiday. It's like all the stars aligned for today. And Rick, and also my partner Frank, is taking me out for a bunch of birthday surprises.
Yeah, you guys always
So
do surprises on big holidays and for big celebrations. That's an awesome romantic thing.
And we also do it a couple times during the year. If anybody's got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whatever, just pick a day, pick a weekend, and it doesn't have to be really expensive. It can be, but you can also find all kinds of very affordable things to do. And one of you picks a bunch of stuff to do, and the other one doesn't know, and it's their surprise weekend. So this is my surprise weekend. Now,
Enjoy, but not to put a damper on it. It's kind of hard for those of us who have bi-coastal relationships, Mark. But thank you. Nice suggestion.
is that the LGBT bicoastal?
It's like being a zucchini. For those that don't know what a zucchini means as it relates to sexuality, please listen to a previous podcast.
Yes,
We have a
last
few.
week's
We have a
podcast.
few posted on our website, which is thetwistpodcast.com.
Yes, and folks can also just email subscribe. They can find us on iTunes. We'll be in Stitcher in no time.
And if you
So,
don't behave yourselves, I might just sign you up for a subscription, whether you know it or not. If you're my
oh
friend.
yes, that's a great way to alienate friends. Are you ready?
It's your show.
Well, it's our show, Rick,
Well, then why does Mark come before Rick in the name? Okay.
because Mark does all the admin. Do you want me to change it?
No, therefore it is your show. It is your
No,
show.
it's our
But
show. But the thing is, like on the sitcoms where you had Laverne and Shirley, the stars' names they're just like mine's first, but yours is higher.
oh yeah, yeah, bigger font. Can we go and redo the? Can we? Or higher is fine. People do have these discussions, but usually I think in shows like that, Market, it's how it sounds, the alliteration or the flow of the words. Like the twist with Rick and Mark is more on the down, whereas the
Okay,
twist with Mark and Rick is way better. So
thank you. So it must have been instinctual.
yes, onward.
Onward now. We're going to do the weekly red lines, and this week they are all Halloween related because it's a Halloween show.
But first, the show is brought to us by someone, isn't it?
That's right. Thank God we do this together. It's a memory thing. I'm not so young anymore, which I'll get to in one of my topics. But you're right.
So
I
will
mean, I
I.
want to mention that today is the last. I did a 99-cent book sale, Kyle Callahan Mysteries. I have 5 of them out. Today is the last day to get them for 99 cents.
That's
Then they
twisted.
zoom back up tomorrow to 3.99. So just go on to Amazon, type in Kyle Callahan Mysteries or Mark McNease, either one, and get a bunch of books for $1, man, less than $1. You could, if you buy 5 of them, you'll have a nickel change, which is amazing. Who gets a nickel change anymore? And
That's
then I
very
also,
generous.
yes, very generous, and because I'm devoted to my readers. I also want to mention that starting next week in November, we're going to have some sponsor shout outs. And our first 2 are Krieger Cole Communications, located here in
Yay.
New York. I'll have little taglines to say something about them. And Amy May's Photography. Now, Amy has an announcement, but I can't give it away. It's embargoed until November, which is tomorrow. So next week, when we do the show, I'll promote them at the beginning of the show and mention Amy's big reveal.
All right. You didn't even tell me in our virtual green room before the show that was coming up. And
No,
Amy is a
it's so
friend.
top secret, Rick.
Okay, we'll keep it top secret. But keep your top on too, by the way.
Yeah,
This is
you
not a
didn't. Well, we can see each other, which we didn't mention
yes.
either.
Okay.
You're bidding on
Hi.
this.
Yeah, but it's kind of broken up. But anyway, let's get on with the red lines because you got some big news stories going on.
Weekly Red Lines Halloween edition. 48-year-old Charles Cole was arrested in Pleasant Valley, New York, for strangling his mother in the hotel room they lived in together.
That's
Then he kept her body there for 7 weeks before donating it to the South Carolina countryside.
Oh
A
my.
24-year-old technician at a cryotherapy salon in Las Vegas. That's where you get treated with extreme cold. It's kind of like a hot tub, only it's like way below zero. She had just tweeted the miraculous benefits of this treatment, as she got into one of the chambers where she was found frozen to death the next day.
That's twisted.
Norway and other highly secular countries in that part of the world have found a new craze: ghost hunting, searching for otherworldly sources of sick offices and condominiums with foul smells and objects that go bump in the night. They don't believe in God, but they know great grandma's still around.
That's twisted.
And finally, this is a big one for our listeners out in Los Angeles. If you're in West Hollywood tonight, be sure to stop by Killjoy's Castle. It's a lesbian feminist haunted house, sure to scare away any man into impotence. You'll find an archway resembling a gaping, toothed vagina, zombie folk singers warbling Melissa Etheridge covers, and a history of the feminist lesbian movement told in all its gory glory. This is a must-see for children of all ages.
Oh, my.
Those are our Halloween red lines. Isn't that fun? Every time we got a holiday, like when we're doing one of these, we'll just tailor them.
That's fantastic, but the thought of walking into a vagina scares the bejesus.
It scares most men. That's why they're so determined to control women's bodies.
That's the feminist part. That's the part I would enjoy. So maybe I should fly out to West Hollywood and walk through
Let's go. I'll meet you there.
Okay. Hey, I want to talk about Halloween candy. Moving into our topics of the week, Mark and I go back and forth and share a couple hot topics. PETA is at it again, Mark. You know, the people for ethical treatment of animals are out during Halloween advising parents and children to check the candy labels for the following 3 ingredients: gelatin, carmine color, and confectioner's glaze. Because if your candy has any of those 3, it is truly not a vegan Halloween candy.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
So, yeah, it's really important. But what's funny about it is when you look at the list of edible-friendly, PETA-friendly foods, vegan candies include, here's the irony of it, Swedish fish. Who would have thought?
Well, they're not really fish.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it's not so ironic. Dots, which is a Halloween favorite for a lot of people. Jolly Ranchers are vegan-friendly. Chick-O-Sticks. Do you know Chick-O-Sticks, Mark? They're actually made right over near me, over the other side of the border of Shreveport, of Louisiana and Texas. Have you ever heard of them?
No, but it sounds lesbian feminist.
A little bit. They may be handing them out after you walk through that spook house. Spook house. Why did it ever get the name Spook House?
Because there used to be spies. It used to be full of spies.
Really?
That's twisted.
Up in the vagina? I don't know. Hubba Bubba chewing gum, Airheads, Fireballs, Juju Fruits, or Juji Fruits as some people call them. I think that's a real name. Sour Patch Kids, Dum Dums, Blow Pops, bottle caps.
There's so much like homoerotic stuff in there.
Do you remember?
Do you notice that? You got your blow pops. Who doesn't want a blow pop? And you got your juicy fruits. Come on, man.
You got your Zots that kind of explode in your mouth. Remember those?
Zots.
Zots. For those of you that do know a Zot, you like put it in your mouth, Mark, and it like fizzes.
Well, I've had different various things like that.
All right. So look for vegan-friendly candy. Also, Pop-Tarts has announced that they're coming out with some new flavors for their 50th anniversary. Have you seen that story?
No, because you're the food guy. That's your beat.
It is my beat. And like you said, we can make this seasonal on this show. So I thought it'd be fun to let you all know. Many of you don't know this, but Pop-Tarts actually came from dog food, but that's a whole nother story. There's a Pop-Tart beer, which we talked about on the show before. Here's the deal. Here's the 5 new flavors of Pop-Tarts coming out to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Tell me if they're good or bad to you, Mark. Here they go. Chocolatey caramel.
Okay.
Maple bacon.
Oh, my God, no.
Frosted spring strawberry.
Okay.
Pink lemonade.
Yeah, I'm not so sure the tart with the tart. Well, it is called Pop-Tarts, but go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. And here's the one that people don't understand. Watermelon. I'm going to puke.
No, I don't get it. I don't like watermelon. I don't know what the big deal is. Watermelon ice cubes or something.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I like watermelon, but hot watermelon and a Pop-Tart?
No, I don't think so.
Not my thing. The other thing, Trix cereal is the first. General Mills is going good on its promise that 90% of all its cereals will have no artificial ingredients by the end of 2016. The first one they're doing this with is Trix. As you may know, the blue and green Trix are going away. You're going to have 4 flavors of Trix because the colors have to kind of resemble that. And they're using, here's the weird thing, to get the color, they're using like turmeric and like weird different flavors.
That's good for blood pressure or something, though.
It is. So I think your candies are going to be a little more healthy. And the last thing in the food front is Ben & Jerry's beer. Yes, they're coming out with a beer. New Belgium beer. New Belgium Brewery is coming out with a salted caramel brownie brown ale by the fall of this year. So within a month, you'll see it on the shelves. New Belgium and Ben and Jerry's beer.
Thanks, Rick. I've written that all down. My little tail end comment here on the for the PETA, because you mentioned PETA. You know, they just study just came out and everybody was saying, oh, bacon causes cancer. So now PETA will be able to go around shrieking,
Mm-hmm.
meat is suicide.
So true.
Ah, my turn. See, I'm so glad yours was up. We started on an up note there because my first of the two topics is here come the 40 under 40s. Now it's that time of year. I work in an office. I get the mail. The magazines come in, whether it's Cranes or Forbes or whatever. And this is the time of year that you get all those 20 under 20s and the 30 under 30s and the 40 under 40s. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
with the 40 pictures of people and their amazing accomplishments and their rising stars. And this goes back a while for me because a few years ago I tried to do a 50 over 50 for LGBT Senior, the website that I do, because I'm like, it just bugs me. It's like, is our life over at 41? You know, they don't. You very rarely see people being celebrated beyond 40 or for their accomplishments, you know, later. I just had a quote. I can't remember it now, but
That was
it
good.
was Susan B. Anthony, which was about saying that, you know, we reach our prime at 50. I think 50 has been my most dynamic decade, honestly. And I'm not just being defensive. It's a cultural thing, and it just always bugs me here for another 40 under 40. Like, so what? I don't care. What did you do at 55? What did you do at 65? What are you doing at 70? So I get them, I see them, I'm like, I throw them off to the side, and that was one of my topics,
It's
folks.
just a number, Mark, really, when you think about it. And I think it goes back to what we talked about titling a show or a podcast. 40 under 40 sounds good. I don't think it's any more than a number. Who cares? Why? I agree. Why make it 40 as the cutoff? You know?
Well, but they do the 30 under 30s too, and even the 20 under 20s. It's just this thing about, you know, look at what they've accomplished, and they're only 39. So
Hmm.
okay, I'm not going to come down on them, but I just put it out there because I saw it. Here they come. It's that time of year where they all start
Oh, they do.
putting
They
out
do.
their
We have
lists. You
one
know.
locally in Shreveport, and an ex of mine, an ex that you know, was listed in the 40 under 40. Did I tell you that?
No, but is this the same person who's on the Today Show?
Oh, no, that's another ex, but I think he's over 40.
Oh,
Yes,
he's.
my exes are all over Texas. They're taking over the world. But this ex is one from Shreveport, who you know and you met
Oh
at
wow, yes.
my 49th
Oh
birthday.
my God, yeah.
And you're laughing because you're
The
like,
whole.
why should he be listed as 40 under 40, right? He couldn't even dress properly.
Right.
Is that why you're laughing?
No, I mean you. He's the 40 out of 40 because of his time with you, for sure.
Oh,
It was your
we're not
influence,
going to
Rick.
even comment. We're changing because that was a great comment, Mark. Date Rick Rose, you'll be 40 under 40. My current is 30 under 30, and he's staying with
Really?
me. Yes, and
Yeah,
he's a
he's
winner.
cool. I like him.
He's a winner. He's a keeper, as they say. Hey, speaking of which, I'm going to turn this around and make it a little positive. My story is that moment of your life. You know, this is the moment. So whether you're 40 under 40 or 50 over 50, we all have that defining moment in our life when we really look back and say, this changed my life. This was a really awesome moment in my life. And I think, Mark, what happens often, those moments do happen when you're under 40, admittedly, because the chances are a little better. We're working a little more furious. We are more goal oriented, you know, different goals like accomplishment goals. Things happen to us under 40 for you and I. And I think at this time of year, not to be total Debbie Downer, because I told you I was bringing this back up, but this is the time of year when we were both many years ago living in the height of the pandemic of HIV and AIDS. And I remember this was the time of year, was the last time I saw your spouse, Michael, or your partner, Michael,
Yeah,
alive.
he died November 11th.
He sure did. And I remember it was Halloween night or around Halloween when we went to see him, and Michael suffered with dementia. And, uh, yeah, it was dementia, wasn't it? Just not everything was together. So I have very vivid memories of this time of year. And I remember when we did Michael's memorial service, I was driving to the service at Fate at our theater, and my friend Brian died. And that was the defining moment in my life when I realized, man, how can you bury someone the same day another friend is dying? And this just was going on and on and on. But the bright spot, as you know, and we've had her as a guest on our show, was Leanza Cornett, who was Miss America in 1993. In the middle of the pandemic, a 21-year-old that played the Little Mermaid at Disney World, coming out as Miss Florida, winning Miss America, and saying, "I'm an AIDS activist." And there's a great story on Queerty. If you haven't followed Queerty.com, it's a great website. It was a great interview, Mark, with Leanza, talking about why she chose the platform, were there struggles with the platform, where is she at today with things like PrEP. She talked a lot about, by God, she said, I wish PrEP was available as a pill back then. I would have encouraged everybody to take it. She said, there's no shame in taking it. She goes, not that there's shame in the reason to take it, but, thank God for something like PrEP.
Mm-hmm.
She just goes on and on. I really encourage people, go to Queerty.com, read the interview with Leanza Cornett, kind of a brown drip breaker. And as you know, that moment in my life was when I reached out to her when she was crowned and said, come to LA. I want to be your friend. I want to show you what's going on here. And the very next day after I faxed her that request, I heard from her person, her booking agent, and our friendship began all those years ago.
Very nice.
Yeah, so check it out. Do you follow Queerty?
I haven't read them for a little while, but it's it's queer. It's spelled Queerty, and of course it's a take on the keyboard, the QWERTY keyboard. Not everybody knows that because people nowadays I don't think even are aware of keyboards that much.
No, I wouldn't have been aware of it. And here's what I wasn't aware of. Mark King, the gentleman behind it, is actually from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Wow.
Small world.
It is a small world. See, I didn't know if you were done. I was afraid to ring the bell.
No, you can ring the bell any time. Were you tired of me at any time?
No, absolutely. I'm never tired of you.
All right, your turn.
Oh yeah, it's another not so happy one. Next week I'll try to find some up stuff. But yeah, for some reason my things this week, there's no middle class anymore. I was just reading the other day that, and this is according to the Social Security Administration, 51% of all workers in the United States make less than $30,000 a year. Now the poverty level, the federal poverty level for a family of 5 is 28,400. The middle class, and this has been going on for a long time, and I don't think this is news to you. I don't think it's news to most people. The middle class is like a phantom. It doesn't really exist anymore. We have lots of people making, minimum wage, maybe twice minimum wage, and then we have a small cadre of extremely wealthy people, and very little in between. So that's been on my mind just because it's vanishing. And I when I read this, I thought a couple of things. I thought I'm really glad I don't have children, like say in college age or grandchildren, because I would just be really upset about their future in this country. And I'm also sometimes I think I'm glad that I'm glad I'm 57 as of this week because I lived in a time when America, and I'm not one of those people who says, oh, the country's in the toilet, it's going to hell, and I'm looking for some president or somebody to blame. But I do think that there's been a steady erosion of what allowed people to be middle class in this country, and that were jobs like General Motors, a lot of union jobs. Of course, everybody hates union now. The forces that really wanted this have been extremely successful, whether it's the Koch brothers or CEOs or the 1%. They have been extremely successful in making Americans blame unions and blame the unemployed and blame people on public assistance, while they're just like, where do you think all of your money's going? I guess I'm going to end on that because I've thought this so many times when I see my friends on Facebook who are of a conservative or Republican bent, lashing out at welfare. If you can afford cigarettes and tattoos, you don't need public assistance. And one time I put on there, if you can afford a private jet, you don't need corporate welfare. Well, that's where the money's going.
Exactly.
It's not going to some poor lady who wants to take her kids to the movies. It's
exactly.
Our pockets are being completely emptied by extremely shrewd people who know how to manipulate the public and get them to blame all the wrong people. So I'll end on this. Grover Norquist, I won't get into who he is. If you don't know who he is, there's no point in telling you. But anyways, He was famously said that he wanted to make government so small he could strangle it in the bathtub. I don't.
I love it.
I don't think he succeeded. I don't think he ever will. But what they have succeeded at is making the middle class so small they can
Mm.
drown it in the bathtub, and I fear they have.
Wow, that's no, I didn't want to get off of it yet. That would have been beautiful, and I didn't comment much because our next couple segments on the show allow us to pontificate. And you spoke so eloquently about it, Mark. And to me, you're right. It's always like the nature of capitalism or the nature of Americanism or the nature of who we are living in this country tends to reward the overachievers. It tends to reward success, if you will, and look down at the underdog. There's a handful of people that want to promote the underdog, and maybe I'm eating my words. Maybe there's way more people than you even know wanting to take that underdog and lift them up. But in general, I think if you come in the middle of the equation, if you will, it's either you look down at those below you and you're like, look at they're there for a reason. They haven't been working hard enough. They haven't been giving enough for the American dream. And then those guys, you're like, oh yeah, let's elect Trump. He can run this country because look what he's done with his money and look what he can do.
Yeah.
Anyway, should have ended with you.
No,
It
it's okay.
pisses me
Good.
off.
I like it when we interact with each other and you get fired up. I like to fire you up.
Well, you got me fired up. Where's the middle class and who represents it? So who are you going to vote for? That's another show.
Oh, Hillary, man, totally Hillary. But she's got to be careful, man. We're not fools. This nonsense about her saying that her husband signed DOMA to
Oh
prevent
yeah, that's
something worse.
ridiculous.
It's like, come on, man. I'll vote for you. I said it on my blog. Don't take us for fools.
Yeah,
We're
don't
going
get
to
all
vote for you
cocky
because, oh
because
my
you came
God, I don't
through.
want a
Yeah.
Republican in there. And I like Hillary. But don't say stupid shit like that. Everybody
No,
knows better.
and I do like her because I believe that she and Biden really have a good grasp on what the middle class represents. So, all
Hashtag
right,
you're it.
hashtag I'm it. That's right. This is our segment, folks, where we create a hashtag, and feel free to use it. If you hashtag it, Mark and I'll search it all week and see your comments on the subject. My hashtag is Black Lives Did Matter. So hashtag Black Lives Did Matter. Do they matter today isn't as relevant as did they matter? And we're going to look at the 19th century and 20th century. A lot of this ties in with what you said, Mark. Back in the 19th century, at the end of the Civil War, think about what was going on. The initiative and the empowerment of black citizens really fell to the Republican Party. At that time, what was going on in the South, Republicans were seeking political and economic control of the South, and African Americans were fighting for liberation, citizenship, and voting rights. And if you look at the records, Republicans aligned themselves very heavily with African Americans who were desired more to hinder, secessionists. And if you look at the records, many people, there were over thousands of black men that were former slaves who held offices as sheriffs, mayors, governors, congressmen, and senators. All these officials were actually Republicans. Look at Lincoln himself, who freed the slaves. He was a Republican. They worked hard for the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendments and the passage of the Civil Rights Act that happened in 1875. Now, Mark, I ask you and our listeners to kind of forward to the 20th century. So in the early 1930s, Democratic male suitors such as Franklin Roosevelt, Truman, of course, Johnson, the author of, quote, Welfare, began to court African Americans with political reform, and they gave them civil rights protections. Conversely, you had someone as conservative as Barry, help me out here, what's his name? Barry Goldwater. Barry Goldwater coming in and kind of, pressing down at that and not really giving that opportunity. So, and kind of saying, the welfare system and civil rights were unjust and this isn't the way it should happen. So the black citizens of our country started to align themselves with the Democratic Party. So the question is to me, what is it we want? Is it a political move or not? 19th century, blacks mattered to Republicans. The 20th century, blacks mattered to Democrats. So black lives did matter, but they still do matter. And that's where I want to end it. Back and forth, we go back and forth. Is the hashtag appropriate? Should we pay more attention to black citizens who are more challenged? But when you look at it, they make up 13% of our population, yet 26% are victims of police shootings. And younger African Americans are 4.5 times more likely to be killed by the police than any other racial group. So who does it fall upon? And where are we with our journey with black citizens in the United States?
Well, that's a lot to ponder. That's a very big. No, it's a huge, big, complicated subject. And I think one thing that is, and I won't say very much on it because it's your thing, but I think it's hard for an awful lot of white people to understand that there are systemic issues involved here. It's not just a half a dozen or a dozen black men being shot by police or women. It's a systemic problem, and it has been for hundreds of years. And to
That's right.
pretend that racism doesn't have an effect is like you're deluded. I mean, it's just a delusion to think that it doesn't. It's just like, I mean, it's not like this because I don't like comparing LGBT equality to the struggles of blacks. But it is similar to this idea that we can get married, so now we have all this equality. We don't. And I even have a conservative friend who doesn't get it that gay people think that there's discrimination against us. He's like, well, how you've got all these rights, and how can you be so it's a similar thing to not understanding that racism is real. It really is real, and it gets people killed, and it keeps them economically down. They're prevented from buying property. I mean, there's so many statistics and studies and evidence that it's not just a black kid who was shot in Missouri. This has been going on for 500 years.
Amen. That's why hashtag Black Lives did matter, and they still do matter, but more than just the power of a marketing hashtag, if you will.
Yes. Despair is trending. Yep, that's final bell time. Although you'll have the end quote after this. This is the final bell. We have this last commentary at the end, and we go back and forth. We switch off. So this week it's me, and it's get ready for the holiday onslaught. Halloween, love it. Tomorrow's November 1st. Hallmark Channel, where we normally watch Golden Girls. No, we do. We watch Golden Girls to go to sleep. You got Frasier at 1 o'clock in the morning. Anyways, Hallmark starts their Christmas movie marathon now.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
We went to watch the Golden Girls last night, and there's some Christmas fucking movie on. Now I got to put an explicit tag on the show. No, I won't. But yeah, Rick, it starts now. It used to be after Thanksgiving, I think. Now it's after Halloween, man. The Halloween candy comes down, and the reindeer go up tomorrow, and the holiday songs start so frequently and so often that most of us are just like, oh, please play some Carole King. Get me out of here. So that's it. And I'm downsizing with holidays anyways. I said to Frank, I don't need more stuff. You don't need more stuff. I mean, if you look around our homes, it's just stuff, and that's like most people. I said, let's just start getting gifts where a massage would be great, or something that you can experience rather than something that you can try to find space for on a shelf that has no room. So that's where we are with the holidays. They are upon us. That was your final bell.
And here's our quote of the day. Thank you all for listening to us. I'd like to end with a little quote, as Mark said. When we get heavy sometimes, it's always good to bring it back up. And Mark, I'm dedicating this quote in honor of someone that I know you have high respect for, and that's Sylvia Rivera. I bring it up because she is the newest addition to the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery.
Wow.
You guys can, just happened. The woman who arguably put the T in LGBT is being honored was the first transgender woman or first transgender person in the portrait gallery. And here's the quote I want to give. This is from Wes Angelosi. Go and love someone exactly as they are, and then watch how quickly they transform into the greatest, truest version of themselves. When one feels seen and appreciated in their own essence, one is instantly empowered. Wes Angelosi. And there you have it, folks. Thanks for listening to The Twist Podcast, America's only clothing optional podcast.
That's twisted.